this together over the course of the last semester, and we're just rolling it out today. So hopefully it goes off without a hitch.
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking for myself, I think it looks fantastic so far. I've seen
Thank
a little
you.
bit of what we have in store for our viewers over the next couple hours here, so I'm really excited about it personally. I think you did an awesome job, so thank you.
Yeah.
But really exciting stuff here. Our first streamed game of the semester. We have 3 teams participating in matches that we'll be able to broadcast this year. Michigan Tech Esports. Also, another big thing that we got to talk about is the event this weekend, the GLIAC Esports Tournament, where 4 of our rosters, including the League of Legends team, Rocket League, Valorant, and Super Smash Brothers, are going to be heading down to Purdue University Northwest, where they are going to be taking part in the 3rd annual GLIAC Esports Championship. The first annual Tech won the entire event, took 2 of the games. Last year, they still won the Smash event. Really exciting stuff there. So 4 rosters going to be going down to Indiana this weekend, and hoping they can bring back another trophy for the Michigan Tech Esports Pro Playfly, I believe.
I believe Call of Duty's playing in ECAC.
Oh,
It's
sorry,
the
yeah.
division they're playing against, but that's all new schools. So
Yeah, so a bunch of new schools, a bunch of new teams for Call of Duty because scheduling conflicts. They've moved to Friday nights now, so it's not going to be the usual Thursdays. We'll make sure to keep reminding you of that. I know that's a pretty significant change, but the other days are going to stay the same for us. But just really rough shake last semester. I mean, you could see them getting significantly better over the course of the semester, but like they just kept running into juggernauts of collegiate Call of Duty and just really tough. But so far it seems like they're doing really well in ECAC, so really happy to see them being able to get some wins on the board there. And then just exciting stuff so far for Overwatch and League of Legends. I believe League of Legends is currently 1-1. They lost 2-1 in their first played match of the season, and they have a forfeit one, I believe.
yes.
But then Overwatch off to a really hot start right now. Currently in the record books is 2-0. They had a bye week to start the first week of the season, and then they beat their opponents 3-0 last week. That was Kilgore College, and then they also had a forfeit win that's going to be placed in the books. It was scheduled for a few weeks in advance, but technically it's a win on the books. Everybody has that win credited to them now. So in the roster right now, we're 2-0, 3rd in the conference, because there are teams that didn't have a bye the first week who are still undefeated. So some 3-0 teams ahead of us for now, but it will balance out as the season progresses and everybody gets their bye. So really exciting stuff so far. Huskies looking to stay undefeated here against Iona State.
Yep, and speaking of being undefeated, why don't we go over to the roster and take a look at the players that we have for tonight. So first of all, we have the captain, Lucas Haskins, aka Cheesebread, Isaac McKinney, Isaac, Dan Burns as Jolo, Jacob Roy Borland as JRB, and then Chris Fields as Savage. And I think we have Lucas and Chris both play support. We got Isaac and Dan playing DPS, and then we have Jacob on tank. And we also have Brendan Susky, who we occasionally see sub in for Jacob if we're playing Flashpoint.
Yeah, really exciting stuff there so far. But I mean, this is my first time being able to cast for the Overwatch team. I mean, I've known these guys for a while. A lot of these guys have been here as long as I have, been a part of the esports program for the past 3 years here at Michigan Tech. And it's just really exciting to see these guys really start to just like find their flow in Overwatch. They're winning some big games against really big schools, making themselves very prominent in the national conversation for Overwatch. And I mean, we've got top 500 players on the roster right now, a bunch of grandmasters, really exciting stuff for all of our Michigan Tech opponents. And just really excited to see how this gets going.
I think we're about ready to start getting into the game here. Our first map is going to be Oasis. And I think the teams here are just about ready to get into the game. So in just a few minutes here, we'll see the players load into the server. It looks like Iona picked Oasis. And then for all of you at home who don't know, the loser of each map picks the successive maps, not back and forth. So we'll have to wait to see what the subsequent maps are. I think we're just about ready to get into the server here. It looks like the server just started up, and it looks like about a minute of pregame before we get into game 1 here.
Yeah. But there are 5 different game modes that we're going to be cycling through for Overwatch 2. It's a best of 5 set, so the first team to win 3 games wins the match. If a team wins 3-0, we don't play games 4 and 5. In game 1, the map we're about to start is going to be Control. So the way this works is it's a best of 3 game. There's a single control point on the map, and both teams' job is to just capture and hold the control point. You're going to see little percentage markers in the top of your screen there. Whichever team gets to 100% and successfully fends off the point once they get there wins the point. First team to 2 points gets game 1. That's simple.
Yeah, Oasis, a map where high ground control is very important. On this first stage, maybe it's not as important. We've got the high ground from this camera angle, it's to the left of the point, but it's kind of off of the point. But you'll still see people going over to it. The DPS and the support will both be fighting over that high ground. But on subsequent stages of the map, the high ground becomes even more important. It extends over the point in the second stage. And so as the map progresses, we're going to see the teams fight even more and more over that. We see Iona State immediately roll out to the high ground. MTU getting some early point pressure. We see JRB playing Hazard, the new hero, who I haven't really gotten to test yet. I haven't played a lot of Overwatch since I casted last time. But apparently he's pretty good. He must be if we're playing him right now.
Yeah, JRB seems to be pretty comfortable, getting pretty aggressive early, just getting right up in Iona State's faces, just not letting them get very far. And nice work there. 2 quick kills, JRB and Savage, and Cheesebread, and Savage with the 4th. Why not? How about 4 quick kills to start the game there for the Huskies? The point unlocked. And Michigan Tech already ticking away on that point. Want to wrap this round up quick.
Yeah, Hazard seems to be somewhat of a combination between dive and brawl. He's not like Sigma where he's a poke tank. He has some team, for example, if they want to retake this space, they have to burn cooldowns to be able to do it. And Overwatch is a game where your cooldowns are everything. If you don't have your cooldowns, it's really hard to get anything done.
Exactly, and alt meters building up quickly for Michigan Tech. They're going to have a little bit more firepower behind them in the near future because of that. And so far, Iona just not able to get the ball rolling, have not picked up a single kill on a Tech player yet. And here comes some more aggression from JRB. Finally a kill on the board for Iona State, but Isaac and JRB teaming up, taking down players. 2 quick kills for JRB. And now Isaac trying to corner the last player here, Wild Rage, for Iona. And that is going to be another team takedown there. Huskies holding the point, going to get to 80% and more. Looks like this is going to be the last real chance for Iona to get a push on this site.
Yeah, and ult economy's not looking so good for Iona either. MTU, 4 ults up. Iona about to have 3, maybe 4, if they can make this last team fight last a long time, long enough for May to get ult here. But 97%, I don't even know if they're going to be able to touch in time. And you see Hazard place that wall in that choke point. That's another huge benefit of Hazard, is he can just place objects on the map. And the meta for Overwatch 2 has been a lot of brawl tanks, which means a lot of tanks with not a whole lot of mobility. So just having a character that can place cover, I mean, I don't know how much we're gonna see Isaac on May tonight, but back when we played May, that was a huge part of the game, was using May walls to block off tanks from advancing or backing up. Because again, brawl tanks, we see a lot of Orisa, see a lot of Ramatra in these collegiate leagues, and again, not a lot of mobility on those tanks at all. So just having anything that you can place down to just kind of stunt their approach of it is huge, especially on King of the Hill.
Yeah, I mean, so far it seems like outside of the Hazard pick for JRB, the Huskies are not afraid to go with a lot of mobility here, a lot of just pure firepower. And so far working out for them. They've had pretty dominant control so far, looking to make this a quick 2-0 in game 1. We'll see if they can pull that off. Point is a little bit until it unlocks. This first initial team fight, we'll see how it shakes out, who gets a bit of an advantage going into the capture phase here.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at these team comps interact, because Iona, pretty much all brawl. I mean, maybe you could classify Farah as dive, maybe, but on the other hand, Michigan Tech, 4 dive characters. I'm going to go ahead and call Hazard a dive tank, just because of the jump that he has and how easy it is for him to get aggressive like that.
They were playing up into Iona's spawn there for a second, but now receded back a little bit. One of the Iona players was able to make a little bit too much progress there, so Husky's going to be a little bit more conservative. Now JRB stepping back, knows the whole team is there for Iona, and just starting to chip away a ton of damage there. Going to take out Silverbolt, going to take out Savinity, Brick Eyes as well. 4 kills, and Disoriented out of options here. Not sure if they really have anywhere to go. Yeah, they're just going to fall back. Really nice hold there by the Huskies. No kills on the board yet for Iona. Huskies halfway to capping this point. Really solid start here for MTU.
Yeah, the strength of roster on paper is definitely in MTU's favor, and dive comp is one of the best ways to punish a team when you feel pretty confident that you're better than them at just winning these team fights, because dive comp, you're just so much better at taking advantage of these little errors in positioning that the other team is making. We got Isaac, JRB, Cheesebread, and Savage all playing dive characters. I mean, if you want to call Sojourn a dive character because she has the slide, maybe you could, but the slide's more for escaping than it is for aggressing. But 4 out of 5 characters being on dive, that's a great way to punish a team that you think is just weaker than you, because again, in Overwatch positioning, pretty much everything. As we see the clock wind down here, 95%. Iona's going to have to just hold W into this choke point here if they even want to touch the point, and it looks like
I don't think they have a way to get there.
they're not
Civility
gonna
might
make
be able
it.
to cap point for a second here. We are going to see overtime.
Yeah, Dragon Blade coming out from Isaac just to shut down this last second attempt to touch the point, and Civinity going to go down, although Wild Rage making it to the point, but now both healers are down, so that's going to pretty much do it. And map 1 is in the books just like that. Michigan Tech, pretty comfortable 2-0 win. We'll see if this momentum continues. That was Iona's map pick, and since the loser picks, we're going to see them pick the second map as well, but if MTU can keep this momentum up, it'd be a pretty short night.
Yeah, really effective play there, just all around for Michigan Tech. Like you were saying with this dive build that they've got going, it's not even that they're punishing the position, it's that just Iona doesn't even have the time or wherewithal to be ready for it with how quick the Huskies are moving. And simply put, I mean, how do you come up with a response to that when, you know, the second you see the opposing team, 3 players down?
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to see how they respond. Hopefully in game 2, they'll have a little bit more of a way to figure out what they're doing here. It's going to be hybrid, so bit of a different dynamic here. Definitely much less of an aggressive, like, constant game mode.
Yeah, with hybrid, once you get to the cart push section, the game slows down a decent bit, or it gets a lot less hectic at least, because all the fighting is going to be centralized around one point. In control, it's kind of the same because, you know, the objective doesn't move. But there's a lot of flank routes on every map. There's lots of weird positions you can get in to try and make a sneaky play, and it can get pretty chaotic because of that.
Yeah.
But with hybrid, once you get to the second stage, which is the payload phase, the game gets a lot more tactical, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
There's still the fast-paced moments, especially if we're going to keep running dive.
Oh, yeah, you're going to see team fights still. But
yeah,
it's
going to be... The game is going to become a lot easier to process. It's a lot more streamlined, if you will. And... yeah, countering dive is always something that's difficult. You know, sometimes it feels like there's no answers because everything's fine one moment, and the next moment you just have 3 players in on you, and it's hard to. It's in those hectic. Whenever there's a hectic team fight, you know, the team that can stay calm and coordinated usually wins. Yeah, but, and MTU, we have a long history of playing Brawl, actually. For a long time, we ran Oresa, we ran Ramatra, into a lot of dive comps. Last semester, dive wasn't the strongest. So a lot of time it was Brawl comp versus Brawl comp. But the times that we did play dive, I mean, I think we countered it pretty good. And once you learn what doesn't work with dive, it's pretty easy to figure out what does work. Just don't do what doesn't work.
It's that simple, yeah. But we do have map 2 ready here for our hybrid game mode. It is going to be King's Row. So going to be interesting to see how this shakes out now for Iona as they try to respond. I mean, if we continue with this dive build, it just seems like it's just coming from a place of confidence in just skill in team fights for Michigan Tech, where they just feel like, we know we can just run you over in these team fights right now.
Yeah.
And Iona needs to figure out how to respond to that just to even get the point moving.
Yeah, individually, I mean, every single person on Tech's roster is incredibly strong, just as an individual, and so when you mix that with the coordination that we've shown during a lot of these team fights, and I mean, I got to give credit to the Huskies roster. They haven't been. I've only seen them practicing dive for about a month, but they seem pretty fluent at it already.
Yeah, they're off to a fantastic start.
Yeah, dive is all about you pick one player, you focus them, because weak players can do just as much damage to your team as a full health player. So you jump one person, focus that person, get them out of there, move on to the next person. That's how dive works. So clear comms, probably the most important part. Coordination, important as well. So looks like the players are getting into the lobby right now. We're just about ready to get into the game.
Yep.
Looks like Tech is going to start out on defense.
And yeah, looks like, Iona State will be the attacking side to start. Before game 2 gets going proper, though, are you a Tech student? Do you need to be close to campus? We have the places for that. Find the perfect location, live where you want to live. Go check out houghtonforrent.com for all of your housing needs next year. I know they're running some giveaways and things like that, trying to get people on for a few of their places still. So they still have some availability by the sound of it. Be sure to check in with them, houghtonforrent.com. But game 2 underway. Here we go.
Disoriented coming up on the Widow. This is a pretty common strat on offense on King's Row, just to make sure, just to see if you get a pick. The top spawn, it's open at the very start. It's a pretty long sight line for Widow. Usually they swap off immediately. It's funny. I think it's Jolo that plays Ashe normally, but currently I think there's a hitbox exploit with Ashe, so
Yes.
she's just banned in every single Playfly game. So that's why we see Jolo on the Sojourn right now. I'm pretty sure Jolo normally plays Ashe. Is what he prefers to play.
I know Jolo mixes in a little bit of Tracer as well, but it looks like just leaning a bit heavier into Sojourn here. Just sticking with what's been working recently, I guess. But so far, it's worked out pretty well. Who are we to say anything, you know? But
yeah, when I have seen MTU practice dive in the past, it's usually been with the Tracer, and even the last game I commentated versus Cumberland, we saw Jolo whip out the Tracer as well, just for push. But right now, Huskies, pretty strong defense, keeping Iona pretty securely locked in spawn.
yeah, not even starting progress on their capture yet.
Overwatch can be a kind of a steamrolly game sometimes because you gain ult % by doing damage and getting kills, and so once a team starts to roll, they're gonna get ult up before the other team that's getting rolled. So it can kind of it can kind of snowball easily. I'm looking at the ult economy right now. We see Jolo has ult, and we see Savage, JRB, and Cheesebread all coming up on theirs. So meanwhile, Iona not even close to any of their ults. So it's probably going to be a hot minute before we see Iona try to mount any kind of an offensive. Right now, they just seem to be, they're getting staggered pretty hard. They're kind of trickling in.
Yeah. The only hope for Iona at this point is to try to sync up their ults and just make a successful play with using a few of them in conjunction, you know? Like, it's... Which, I mean, at that point, you just gotta hope that Tech has expended theirs already and that they're not ready for it. So, gonna be interesting to see how they try to sync this up here, but need to get those meters moving a little bit quicker. We've got two people stuck under 20% right now.
We see Wild Rage switching to the Sigma, just trying anything to try and break this hold. Savage on a spot that I didn't even know you could stand on.
Yeah, this is this is pretty goofy stuff here from Savage.
He's about to have beat here, so let's see if we can make this big. And, oh, that's
an insane trap.
Disgusting kill onto the Moira. Oh.
Savage is just messing around at this point. That is an incredible pickup there.
Yeah, right now, clock already down to a minute 20. And MTU just holding onto their ults. I guess Orbital Ray did come out, but still 4 ults left to contest this.
Yeah.
Iona about to have Dragon Blade, about to have their own Orbital Ray, but Divinity Disoriented still not close. Their ults as well, so we'll have to see how this shakes out. Dragon Blade does come out. It looks like MTU is staggering their ults a lot, trying not to use them all at the same time here. They're probably guessing that, you know, Iona's just waiting till they get their ults up before they mount a serious offensive. Right now, it just seems to be a formality.
Yeah, Tech just using what they need to hold off this push from Iona in the meantime, and then just, once those ults are charged up, hoping that what they have left in the tank is enough to hold them off from a capture completely here in Hybrid, which would pretty much be the end of the game. It's still to capture their own, of course, but
it would be pretty crazy if we saw the half end without even a single tick of capture progress. That would mean that MTU on offense just needs to touch the point a little bit to just win the entire map. I think
15 seconds to go here, nowhere near the point.
I think every game that I've at least watched the Huskies play, both sides have at least captured the point. We'll see here. Clock winding down here, 5 seconds. They got to touch just to get any kind of cap time whatsoever, but Jolo, Sojourn, ult going huge here, getting a really important pick onto the DPS. Dragon Blade going to come out for Iona State, but
that's a team wipe.
That's a team wipe.
Yeah, that's going to be it. Well, Huskies, defensive play there for the ages. Not any capture progress on the site here in Hybrid for Kings Row. I mean, you literally cannot ask for a better round from Michigan Tech.
Yeah.
So, I mean, excellent work there by the Huskies, and now switching over to the attacking side, we're going to see maybe a team comp gets shaked up a little bit here. We'll have to see.
Maybe we'll at least see MTU's DPS. One of them is going to come up on Widow, definitely, just to see if they can get a pick really quick. Again, the opening area of the map it's basically just one giant sight line. So a lot of times we see teams come up on Widow just for the opening seconds, see if they can get a cheeky little pick before they switch off to their actual main.
Yeah.
Have to see here. Yeah, we see Jolo coming up on the Widow.
And as the teams get set here, we're going to have to see what happens. Looks like it's pretty similar. Oh no, we're seeing the Hazard come back out for JRB. I don't believe JRB was running Hazard in the previous, or on defense. So a little bit of a shakeup here in Heroes for Michigan Tech. And Reaper out now for Iona. I don't believe that was in the attack side either.
Yeah, Reinhardt, something new.
Reinhardt too, yeah.
Reinhardt new for Iona, definitely. Looks like they're just going full brawl with it. We'll see how MTU's dive comp meshes with it. But yeah, as you can see, Jola on the Widow trying to get some damage off early. Going to get a little bit of damage onto the Ana, but not too much. Doing a lot of chunk damage to Divinity though, although I guess not going to matter too much.
And damage coming in on Wild Rage like crazy too. Just trying to take out the tank early here and just mop up the rest.
Yeah, as you can see, that little indicator on the HUD where the 1/3 capture progress is, that's all MTU needs to get to, and they're already contesting the point. JRB in taking space, diving the healer straight into Brick Eyes, and 3 picks in the favor of MTU, and that's just gonna do it.
Yeah, that is the entire that's the entirety of game 2 there. Michigan Tech, just no other way to put it, just absolutely tearing Iona right there. Just perfect result pretty much, and an excellent outcome there for the Huskies as they improve their series score to 2-0.
Yeah, Flashpoint coming up next. Once again, Flashpoint kind of like Control. It's probably the most hectic game mode in the game, I would say. The objective moves around the map, and the map itself is giant. There's tons of room for flanks. So it's a map that punishes teams very hard for not being coordinated. And we're definitely going to see, hope that, on paper, that should be an advantage for Michigan Tech. We've seen them just kind of out-team play Iona on both maps tonight. So on paper, it seems Flashpoint's going to go the same way, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
It's just something different, though. It's just, Iona just needs something to change right now.
Yeah.
And maybe this is what happens. Maybe this is the difference. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and we saw the team comps change a lot. We saw their tank playing Sigma, playing Ryan, playing Orisa.
Yeah.
They're trying a lot of different team comps, but all of them were Brawl. That's the important distinction. All of them were Brawl comps, and then MTU, meanwhile, we've just been on dive the whole time. It's just been working, so I don't see MTU changing anything major. On Flashpoint, well, actually, I say that, but on Flashpoint, sometimes Brendan Susky, we like to have him come in and play in place of JRB. Brendan, I'm pretty sure one-tricks Junker Queen.
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
We see him play sometimes, and I think he only plays Flashpoint as well. But it's been pretty effective. MTU's Overwatch team last semester is pretty good, and a lot of games that we played did go to map. Well, I guess they all go to map 3.
Yeah.
But a lot of the map 3s that we played were pretty close, and a lot of times, tank is the biggest role in Overwatch. It's the most important role by far. So I think maybe we keep JRB in. The tradition has always been to have Susky come in and play tank instead of JRB, and then have JRB come back for push. But we might see that change tonight because MTU has just, we've kind of just been rolling. So if it ain't broke,
I don't see Tech changing up their idea for just going for a dive comp here. Do you see a world where Iona tries to go dive versus dive?
They might try it because they haven't tried it yet. They've tried a lot of different tanks. They've tried a couple different DPSs. They all haven't really worked out that well. But the problem with dive versus dive is it is even more hectic than playing Brawl into dive. Because at the start of every team fight, what usually happens is both teams just fly into the other team's backlines, and whoever does better in each other's backlines, they just win. And that is a lot of stuff happening at all at the same time.
So it'd be a risky call by Iona, but at this point, just you gotta try something new, right? So I guess we'll see how their comp changes if they have any strategy in place here. We do have map 3 for our Flashpoint game mode. It's going to be Servasa. So yeah, we'll see what happens as we go into that map. But before we get into game 3, if you're looking to spice up your style, University Images is your headquarters for authentic Michigan Tech Huskies apparel. It's university owned, university operated, University Images located right here in the SDC, or go check out bookstore.mtu.edu for all of your Huskies merch and bookstore needs. I believe they are still carrying the Michigan Tech esports jerseys. If you liked our style so far on stream, be sure to go check those out. Hopefully we still have some available for you. But also, if you came to the stream late and you want to keep up with the rest of Michigan Tech esports, if you want to see past VODs and other future content, if you want to see our graphics overlay get any crazier or something, I don't know. Maybe
it could.
Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow our Twitch channel. Both are at MTU Esports. But really exciting stuff here going into game 3, and we are going to have to see if Michigan Tech is just going to walk away with a clean sweep here, or if Iona State is going to find a way to keep themselves alive in the game 4, but here we go.
Yeah, it looks like MTU gonna keep the same team comp, gonna keep JRB in as well, not gonna sub in Susky. Looking at Iona State.
Cassidy out.
We do have the
I believe
Cassidy
that's
out,
new.
and I believe it's a new player as well. But Wild Rage has played Sigma before, not in any great capacity. I believe he switched to Sigma for 1 point on control, and that's it. But this Servas is a map where there's a huge variation in how the map actually looks. This first point here, there's a lot of focus on the height. If I remember the order of the points correctly, that is. Yes. This first map right here, or this first point right here, we have this high ground that extends across the entire point. So high ground is a huge thing to worry about. And JRB playing Hazard, a character that can get on top of the height. So we can see the tank for MTU getting on top of the height here, but Wild Rage not going to be able to do the same. And already a tank pick, and that's probably going to do it for the fight right there, barring any shenanigans.
Yeah.
See MTU's DPS and support coming in to mop up, and
Team wipe. Just like that. And for those of you who are not familiar with Flashpoint, it's very similar to the control mode that we saw in Game 1, except now there are 5 points that will cycle through across the map. Each point's worth 1 point. The first team to capture 3 points wins the game. So, Michigan Tech already off to a quick start on that first point, looking to get this one quick and switch over to P2.
Yeah, you might have noticed in that last fight, the first thing that JRB did was fly straight into the enemy and try to split the tank from the healers. That's a really important part of winning any team fight, is splitting the tank from the healers, because the tank is so important in Overwatch 2. Once the tank goes down, assuming all else is equal, the fight's pretty much over. You can't, it's very, very hard for the DPS to win alone in a team fight versus a tank. We see JRB going behind straight into the backline again. The benefit of that dive comp that we've talked about is it's super easy to make things chaotic, and in these chaotic situations, MTU tends to thrive, although this time, 2 picks going the way of Iona State, as we see Michigan Tech's capture progress near 90% here. So Iona State's going to have to touch this point right away if they want to have any hope of defending this first one right here. Although Jolo, with the ult, going to use the Sojourner ult to try and contest this point here. Cheesebread has Kiriko ult as well. We're going to see how this team fight goes, and wow. Team wipe in the favor of MTU, and I think they did that without JRB as well. So
yes, they did.
The ult from Jolo coming in huge there. Pick onto the tank. Wild Rage, importantly, going down to 99% on the ult. That's probably what did it right there for that team fight.
Yeah, but that was, I would say that was probably the most successful we've seen Iona in any team fight so far. Able to pick up big kills on JRB. Isaac went down at the end of that as well. I believe one other player did. It may have been Cheesebread. But really solid work there by the Huskies to come back in and pick up that point, avoid overtime early on that first point, and get on the scoreboard quick to start here. And now, as the next flashpoint unlocks, for the moment, Michigan Tech is on top of it. Iona's right there, ready for another team fight, trying to get back into this. JRB and Jolo, 2 quick kill pickups there. Make it 3. JRB with another one. Jolo with another one. And the last player standing is going to be that Cassidy, who goes down a team wipe before the point unlocks for Michigan Tech. And we are going to see some early progress here once again.
Yeah, huge distinction there in that fight. Wild Rage once again goes down before he's able to get the Sigma ult off, and that probably did it for the fight right there. Although the ult economy in the favor of Iona State for probably maybe the first time in the whole series. Iona State about to have 3 ults. Maybe can get 4. Maybe that Cassidy ult comes up if this team fight lasts long enough. But we'll see how this fight goes. But Jolo and Cheesebread not even close to getting their ults. Although 2 ults going to come out from Isaac and JRB. Although Isaac going to go down, but importantly they trade back both of Iona State's healers, and both supports going down once again. That's also probably a telltale sign that the fight's probably over as well. Yeah. Although this time, Iona State not getting staggered, the DPS and the tank do manage to back up, so it's not a total loss for Iona State. Once the support comes up, they can immediately try to regress.
3 ults ready for Iona as well. Definitely want to get going and make some serious progress here against Michigan Tech. Do you think that they saved these for the 3rd point?
It looks like they're not going to. 2 ults coming out for Ana and Sojourn. 96% on the scoreboard for MTU, although Iona State finally being able to touch the point, although Wild Rage goes down once again without using the Sigma ult, and that is
I mean, 5 kills in the feed right there for Michigan Tech. Iona State got the ball rolling, got a quick kill there, but then immediately shut down by MTU. Michigan Tech going to take the second flashpoint, and now we are at game point and match point here. If Michigan Tech captures this next point, a 3-0 sweep in the books for your Huskies.
That last fight was probably the best chance that Iona State had all night to try and take that point away from Michigan Tech. They had advantage for ults. They had a brawl comp, which lets them at least take and hold space more effectively, but the tank going down without the ult. Wild Rage once again going down without being able to use the ult. At this point, MTU just staggering Iona to death pretty much here. Oh, and this is going to be a huge stagger into the Cassidy as well.
Players just being isolated left and right. Perfect. Exactly what you want out of your dive comp there, just splitting the players perfectly. And Michigan Tech just going to waltz right onto that third point. And they are capturing. Here we go.
Yeah, all of Overwatch's game modes, time is so important. So if you're going to get stomped in a team fight, it better happen quick. What you don't want is players going down one at a time very slowly. And that's what MTU's been doing to these Iona State players. And sometimes it's even beneficial to let the players live longer than you normally would have to improve the stagger even more, to waste even more time, because any moment that Iona State spends waiting for their players to regroup is time that Michigan Tech has with the point. And as we see there, those 3 kills were spread across like 20 or so seconds, and that's 20 seconds of free cap time that Michigan Tech gets. If Iona State had just wiped clean there, they would have been up, ready to contest way sooner. And that's kind of been what Michigan Tech's been doing to them all night, is just they've been so good with the staggers. I mean, I've seen them leave the DPS and supports alive a little longer than they normally would have, just to stagger them as much as possible, to waste as much of Iona State's time as they possibly can. And we can see already 80% on the board for Michigan Tech. Iona State has to make a play right now or it's over for them.
Final push here, and I mean, 3 players going down before they can even get the ball rolling. They're over 90% for Michigan Tech. 5 ults ready. Some Tech players just using them because when else are you going to use it? And that is it. That is the entirety of the match, everybody. Michigan Tech going to take down Iona State in a 3-0 sweep. Dominant all the way through, and a fantastic game all around there for your Huskies.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the most dominant performance I've seen from MTU this semester and last semester. That was just team play gotten down to a science by Michigan Tech. They were so good at covering each other's weaknesses. Dive is a really easy thing to mess up.
Yeah.
If one person doesn't do their job and a player is allowed to survive when you don't mean for them to, or a player is allowed to get an ability off when you don't want them to, that can ruin the whole dive comp. Because, you know, when you dive a team, especially a brawl team, your team gets pretty split as well. It's not a free strategy. There's a lot of risk involved, and so you need a lot of coordination and communication to make it work. But MTU, I'm once again, they've only been practicing dive for about a month, but they seem pretty good at it tonight. And they get business taken care of versus Iona State.
I mean, if they stay this hot with a dive comp, that's scary for everybody else in this league. Going to be really exciting stuff to see if the Huskies can keep that up. But they improved to 3-0 on the season, and still sitting at, for the moment, 3rd place in the conference because of the bye week structure, but really exciting result there for your Michigan Tech Huskies, remaining undefeated so far in the season. We are going to have a post-game interview coming up for you in just a bit, but any closing thoughts before we get to that interview on this game? And then we have some other things we can discuss before we get ready for that. I
mean, this is the second game the Huskies have played. They had a bye and they had a forfeit, so this is the second time we've actually got to see them play. The first time I didn't get to see them play, but it was also a 3-0 victory. Although I doubt the 3-0 victory was as dominating as this one was. This was
it's tough to be that dominant.
This was an amazing showing for Michigan Tech. They played almost as perfectly as you could possibly ask for them. I mean, holding Iona State to 0% cap time on hybrid. I mean, I've never seen that before.
It's incredible.
Yeah, that was crazy. So this is a super promising result from the Huskies, and yeah, if they keep this momentum going forward, and if they play that good with dive versus every team in the conference, I don't see a reason why they couldn't just win the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, obviously, really exciting result there. They are going to be back on for you next week. We'll go back over the schedule once we conclude our post-game interview. But just to go over some other things going on in Michigan Tech Athletics, our basketball teams and our hockey team are both in full swing, wrapping up their regular season, getting ready for the playoffs, and either the GLIAC or the CCHA. So we have 2 home series this weekend for basketball. Women's and men's teams play doubleheaders for all of our in-conference games. Tomorrow, they're taking on Ferris State at home, and on Saturday, they're taking on 1-seed Lake Superior State in the men's bracket. I'm not exactly sure of where Lake State standings are in the women's standings, but so far, I got to talk about it a little bit. The men's basketball team has been insanely hot recently. They're currently 11-3 in conference. They're tied for the 1 seed. If they beat Lake Superior State, they've probably secured the 1 seed for the GLIAC playoffs, which means home field advantage. Really exciting team so far. If you have the time or tomorrow night or Saturday, those games start at 5:30 and 7:30 for Thursday, noon and 2 o'clock
for the Saturday games against Lake Superior State. And then also the Michigan Tech hockey team is going to be going on the road this Friday and Saturday, taking on Augustana University in South Dakota. So really exciting stuff there. Augustana, a new team in the CCHA this year. They are playing only one series against each team, while every other team plays 2 series. So the records are a little bit weird. But Michigan Tech is sitting at 9-9-4. They're 4th in the CCHA right now. And they are trying to win some big games because home ice advantage for playoff hockey, especially when you play in the MAC, is a huge deal. So I believe there's one more home series against Ferris State next weekend if you're still in town. So be sure to check out the Michigan Tech hockey team while you still can. And hopefully we see some playoff hockey back here this year, because it was an exciting run last year, winning the CCHA tournament and the Mason Cup, going to the national playoffs. Really exciting stuff there. But we are going to cut to a brief intermission while we get our player interview set up. So we'll be back in just a few moments for that. See you then.
All right, I'm here with Daniel Jolo. That was a pretty good win tonight. Pretty dominant. That's the best I've ever seen you guys play.
Yeah.
Honestly. So what do you think went good tonight?
I think we were prepared. We knew what to do. We knew how to play. Yeah, I think everything just went well tonight.
Yeah, I saw you guys I think I saw you practicing dive. I don't know. I mean, do you classify Hazard as dive or brawl, or what would you call him?
I say he's kind of more of an in between.
Hmm.
He's not really set to one play style. He's kind of both.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I've seen you. I mean, last semester I saw you guys play a lot of Brawl. Was what I saw
yeah,
you guys play a lot of, and then
for sure.
suddenly switched to Dive. Any reason for that? Is it just the meta? Or?
Yeah, it's more the characters are some, especially Hazard right now. He's just newer and I
Mhm.
don't know the best right now, but just kind of playing what's good.
Yeah. And then next week we got a match coming up against Emporia State University. Anything you're doing in particular to prepare for them, or just watching film?
Just watching film, figuring out how we want to play things. Yeah.
All right. And then before we get you out of here, any last things you want to say? Anybody want to shout out?
Thanks for my family for supporting me. It's always awesome, and yeah.
All right, we're gonna cut to a brief intermission really quick, and then once we come back, we'll have the schedule for you guys, and then we'll wrap things up here. So we'll see you in a bit.
All right, everyone, one last overview of our upcoming schedule before we sign off tonight's stream. Of course, we just saw the current match wrap up here. Michigan Tech takes down Iona State University 3-0. This Friday at 8 o'clock, we're going to see the Call of Duty team take on the New England Institute of Technology. Unfortunately, that game is not going to be streamed because we're going to have a large number of our crew going downstate for the GLIAC Esports Tournament. So we will have updates for you during Tuesday's match, where League of Legends is going to be taking on the Washington State University Cougars. Really exciting match there. Big game for the League of Legends team. Then back here next Wednesday, a week from tonight, you'll see the Overwatch 2 team take on Emporia State University, like you mentioned earlier. And then next Friday should be the debut for COD as they take on Southeastern Illinois College. But that is going to be all from us tonight here at MTU Esports. Thank you all so much for watching. Huge thank you again to Nathan for, first of all, casting with me tonight and also building this incredible overlay that we've got set up here. Thanks to our Overwatch players putting on an absolute show for us tonight. And of course to our partners for sponsoring MTU Esports. But that is all from us here tonight. I've been Scrimby.
I'm Nathan.
Thank you all so much for watching. Hope to see you next time. Go Huskies.